Hello again, whiskey friends. Thanks for joining, everybody. And today we are getting an update on my top 10 whiskeys of the year thus far. It's always exciting to be able to take a step back and reflect on the journey because every year seems to bring a different adventure when it comes to our hobby. Now, in 2025, there has certainly been a lot of negativity around our hobby as well. Stories of bankruptcies, lawsuits, brands disappearing left and right, people leaving our hobby, people backing off from the hobby. And yet, amidst all of that, somehow in 2025, and particularly the last 4 months, I have had the most incredible adventure finding amazing whiskeys on a very, very consistent basis, particularly since May. So I'll talk about that a bit more and we'll walk through the top 10 that I've come across thus far this year. So thank you for joining today, whiskey friends. Let's kick off the show. We don't just review whiskeys here at Hello Again Whiskey Friends. We also collaborate with our friends all around the country to find the best barrels we can for this community. If you're curious what we're coming up with next, be sure to join our Patreon or our private Facebook group. Links in the description. All right. So as I was saying, thus far in 2025, I have had the most amazing adventure. And even as I go through this particular list, you might notice there's some holes in my list as well. There are some things that I know are going to be on other people's lists that I haven't even gotten a chance to try yet. Jack 14, I haven't got my hands on. The Bombsburger PFG. I hear a lot of people rave about that. I haven't tried that either. But what's most important as I construct this list is that it has to be comprised of bottles that I own. No media samples. I had to lay down the money myself on it. It also can't be one of our picks, though I am going to talk about that in a second. And then everything that we are going to go through did go through our review system, and those scores are the basis of this top 10. Now, if you were to go back a couple months, I did a video early May doing my top 10 of the year thus far based on the first 4 months of the year. And man, that list was a little on the shaky side. I was actually pretty nervous of where whiskey was going in my own journey in 2025. But man, compared to that list where it was and the list you're about to see, I'm pretty sure there's only one or two bottles that are the same. It is a complete upheaval. And since I recorded that video in May, it has been consistent. I'm talking almost on a weekly basis. There has been some bottle to enter my house that I have been excited about. Our barrel picks have helped a lot with that. We've come out with 6 barrel picks since May from Green River, 3 from Evernor, a Bardstown Bourbon Company, and an Old Dominic. And man, that string of barrels right there was so good. Really glad everybody got to enjoy them. I know there's been a lot of excited about it. I'm not going to go on and on, but if you know, you know. But those 6 bottles can't even be on this list. I'm actually going to talk about 10 other bottles. So without further ado, let's get into it. And as we go through this list, let me hear your opinion. If you've tried any of these, do you find anything on this list surprising? What's on your top 10? Get that in the comments. And if you're still here, hit that like and subscribe. We are fighting hard to get to 3,000 subscribers before our 3-year anniversary at the end of September. So help us out here and be a good whiskey friend. Number 10. Honestly, this one I thought was going to end up being higher on the list and probably one of my top 5 bottles of the year, the way it started out. And lo and behold, now it's just barely holding on. But scoring an 86 out of 100, we have the Horse Soldier 10-year single barrel. Now, this particular one was coming from Party Source, which is a store in northern Kentucky. Age stated at 10 years, but man, it drinks higher than that. Drinks more like it's 12 years old. And it's 133.6 proof. Now, while this is the only Horse Soldier that I have right now, I have gotten to taste others from other stores, thanks to Big Vic. And man, there was one that he sent me in a blind that I think would have scored an 89 or 90. It was absolutely amazing. My tasting notes on this one were all about creme brulee, raspberry cream, and then that immense oak. And these Horse Soldiers remind me a whole lot of the 14-year Lucky 7 proprietors that came out a few years ago. So if you're seeing these Horse Soldiers 10 years on the shelf, do not sleep on them. Regardless of your opinion of any other Horse Soldier release, I would recommend grabbing these. A good price on these is about $110, $120 is typically what I see them for, and I would pull the trigger if I came across another bottle during my hunting. Number 9, lots of good stuff coming out of Michigan these days, and our friends over there at the Bourbon Junkies are contributing to that. At an 86 as well, we have Evernor Spirits Night Stalker Batch 4. So this one is a blend of straight bourbons from both MGP and Green River, ranging from 6 years all the way up to 11 years in age and coming in at 124 proof. I love this one so much, particularly due to its balance between these sweet, syrupy notes like butterscotch, caramel, white chocolate, a whole layer of baking spices and rye spice, and then that's all held together throughout the entire experience by a barrage of fruit flavors. There's actually so many fruits in this, and they're all mashed up. I just called it fruit jam in my notes. This one really excites me because it just shows that Dan and Sean are getting better and better at this blending craft. So keep up the good work. Number 8. This one might be one of the more controversial ones on my list still. I've heard a couple other people think this is a little too funky for them. But for me, I've never had a rye finish with this combination of casks, and I really dig it. So coming in with a score of an 87, we have Dark Arts Whiskey House Blunt Blend, which is an 8-year rye that was finished in Madeira and Armagnac casks. I mean, the whole concept of a blunt blend is just funny and ridiculous. It also says Dank Arts on the side, so really doubling down on the terminology here. Now, I admit some people might feel that this one was overfinished, and I can also see the $105 price tag being a little bit of a turnoff. But for an 8-year rye that packs this much flavor, I was excited. Just a big berry and grape explosion side by side with like these spicy cinnamon rolls. And then as you go through the experience, the Armagnac really takes over and explodes. And then for me, none of that lets up on the finish. It is just intense throughout. Getting all of those fruit flavors and the influence from the Madeira and the Armagnac into a rye, I loved it. And while I can't comment on if it pairs well with its namesake, I will say it goes very well with the cigar, which actually is a pretty good segue into our next bottle. Number 7, one of our personal favorite brands of the channel, dropped a banger this year. And despite the 20-year age statement, it was only $80. Coming in at an 87 as well, we have Copper and Cask Batch 10 Cigar Blend Whiskey. So as I said, 20 years old, 144 proof. Actually, 145 proof if I did my math right. And this one was finished in Armagnac and port. You know, I'm beginning to realize there's kind of a trend with quite a few of these on the list this year. Now, this one is a Canadian whiskey, which explains a lot of the flavor notes there. The profile in this one was really buttery and very syrupy sweet. But on the finish, those casks of the port and the Armagnac just explode. I mean, you get so much fruit, so much berry, so much grape, and it all surrounds essentially like this buttery soft pretzel. Very good, very intense. And once again, $80 for something 20-year age stated, pretty unheard of, and something that, only Copper and Cask would do. Number 6. This one is going to be the most expensive bottle on this list, coming in at $200. But I am a big fan of light whiskey, and I could not resist this age statement. So moving on up with a score of an 88 out of 100, we have the Seelbach 20-year cask strength light whiskey. This one comes in at 142 proof, so apparently I'm on a hazmat train. But the age statements on some of these light whiskeys that have come out this year have been crazy. Now, what makes this one stand out, though, is that it had a whole lot of tropical fruit on it. And that's not something that I get very often on light whiskey, if I get any fruit whatsoever on the light whiskey profile. Lots of tangerine, lots of mangoes, other fruits, just like a glazed fruit tart all the way around. But still, all of that combined with more of the traditional elements I would expect from a light whiskey, a bit darker profile, but funnel cakes, powdered sugar, and all of this immense sweetness to go with those fruit flavors. And all of it is pretty unrelenting all the way through the finish. So this is one of the first Seelbach private batches that I've picked up ever, but I ended up picking up a couple more as the year went on because this one grabbed my attention so much. All right, 5 to go. Stick around for this message and we'll continue into the top 5. You might hear about drifting drams from our barrel picks, but not only do they know whiskey, they know coffee even better. Katie and Ethan are always bringing in the best coffee they can for this community. And if you enjoy coffee or you are curious about getting into good coffee, you need to check out Drifting Drams. Fancy coffee for regular people. So check out their website to support a small business that is passionate about what they produce. And they will forever change the way that you look at coffee. Number 5. All right, gonna get into a brand from my hometown, Dayton, Ohio, that I did not expect to have on my list in 2025. But their stuff is getting older and their stuff is catching my attention. So jumping up to the score of a 90, and we're gonna have a bit of a log jam at this 90 score, we have the Belle of Dayton Dietrich's Fine Whiskey 4-grain rye. This is coming in at 112 proof and it's just about 9.5 years old. What makes this one unique is the fact that it is a 4-grain rye whiskey, bringing in the rye, the corn, the malted barley, but then in addition to those, wheat, which apparently is this new concept here. I keep coming across wheated ryes lately. So please keep experimenting, keep getting funky, because that combination right there intrigues me a whole lot, blending that softness of the wheat with the rye. So on this one, I was kind of getting some like decadent bakery goods like eclairs or even cream horns. And then getting some unique fruits for a rye as well. A whole lot of plum, which for something that isn't even finished is a very unique note for a rye for me. Coupled with its amazing mouthfeel, and then when you get to the finish, this oak takes over too. I mean, 9.5 years for a rye is pretty old. It gave me one of my most memorable tastings of the year thus far. Number 4. All right. This is the last Armagnac finished thing on the list this year. I swear. I honestly didn't even realize how many things on this list were finished in Armagnac until we're going through this together. And I'm like, oh crap, 3 out of the 10 are actually Armagnac finished. It is my favorite finishing, and that is actually why I bought this particular bottle. So again, hitting me with a 90, we have a KLUKE single barrel cast finish. This one's coming in at 118 proof and is a blend of high rye, Indiana, and Kentucky bourbons that were then finished in an Armagnac cast. What impressed me most about this particular bottle was how balanced the Armagnac finish was with the underlying whiskey. I mean, it is a flavor bomb through and through, and it isn't just the finishing that is doing the heavy lifting. Just gorgeous waves of berries, grape, brown sugar, custard, honey, and rye spice galore. And then through the finish, which lasts for quite a while, it just leaves you with all this honey and rye and oak. And then right when you think it's about to relent, the Armagnac comes in for the finishing maneuver. I mean, we're talking RKO off the top rope. Fantastic job from KLUKE. And because this bottle overwhelmed me so much, it did inspire me to go and hunt other single barrel cast finishes from KLUKE as they've been coming out. And then crazy enough, as much as I talk about KLUKE on this channel, this one is my highest rated yet. Number 3. You're going to notice something strange about this top 5 in just a moment here. But at number 3, we have a repeat brand. Again, with a great score of a 90 out of 100. Another appearance from Belle of Dayton, Dietrich Fine Whiskey, this time with a 5-grain bourbon. The 5 grains on this one are corn, oats, rye, wheat, and malted barley. And this bottle is 117.8 proof and a little over 8 years. I know I'm ripping the hometown brand here, but man, was I not expecting to fall in love with these Belle of Dayton releases so much in 2025. A few years ago, I sat in Belle of Dayton's tasting room, tried some of the whiskey, and maybe because it was a bit younger, I mean, we're talking what, 2020, 2021, something around there. I just thought, good, craft whiskey, hometown, It's okay. And I never really went back to it. And then Copper Wolf sent Darrell a sample that Darrell did in a blind video last year. And Darrell was raving about it. And then when he did the reveal, I was like, oh, that's my hometown whiskey. And then I went to a cousin's birthday party and we showed up about 10 minutes early. So I ran to the liquor store across the street, found this bottle, and I ended up driving around Ohio hunting more of this thing. And I have had quite a few people who, based off that review and that video back in like May, went and got it themselves and nothing but rave feedback. So it is not just me saying this. It seems like anyone that I've influenced trying this thing has come back with very similar opinions. On the palate, I mean, we're talking a whole lot of balance and a whole lot of flavor, mainly driven by this cherry and oak combo, but there's also waves of vanilla, hits of rye spice, and then some light cinnamon there as well to give it a spice profile. On the finish, like the spice intensifies. You end up getting some of this orange zest too, adding more fruits to this combo. But still at the end, that main event keeps being the cherry and that oak. So this is a brand I'm going to keep my eye on, especially as they continue to release older and older casks. Number 2, I have been waiting and dreaming about this release for so long, and to have it come through and just live up to all of my high expectations was so grand. And on top of that, this bottle was only $90. So still at a score of a 90 out of 100, we have the New Riff High Note, first decade Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey, 10 years old. Also coming in at 120 proof, which is high for New. But New Riff stuck to their guns for so long, giving us 4-year bourbon. And they successfully managed their product and got it out to all states around the US. But for fans like me, man, I wanted to taste something old from New Riff. Started getting hints of it last year with the 8-year 100 proof release and also their headliner, which had a blend of older whiskeys into it. But finally this year, they came out with this 10-year bourbon. And it was just everything I wanted it to be. Chocolate, honey, clove, all of that oak, even a little bit of an orange. As it got into that finish, man, the rye spice started picking up. You got a bit of that tea note that I get in so many of the New Riffs that I love. And then the honey and the oak and the spice, they just all come together and linger. Gorgeous, gorgeous whiskey that just comes to show that New Riff can hang with all of the big players in the whiskey industry. Number 1, and it all comes down to this, my number 1 whiskey so far. Honestly, when it comes to this top 5, I mean, they all just kind of circle around my head in the same range. But this is the one that I gave the highest score. And I'm doubling down on my last statement because coming in with a 91 out of 100, yet again, we have another New Riff High Note. First decade Kentucky straight rye whiskey. 10 years old at that exact same proof. 120.5. This was also $90, and New Riff dropped these bombs on the same day at the same time. I mean, this one is just gorgeous to me. Some similar qualities of that bourbon with like the oak and the clove and chocolate as well. But then you go more into that rye direction with some mango, some coconut, some cracked black pepper. And then as you get into the finish, orange enters the picture as well, blending well with all those tropical fruits. But the oak and the chocolate just bring it home. Love it, love it, love it. And was so surprised that I liked it just a little more than the bourbon, which I know is an opinion that others share with me. And that is the list for 2025 thus far. Let me know in the comments, which of these bottles do you agree with? Which ones do you disagree with? Which ones am I missing and I need to make sure that I hunt down? And I can only hope and pray that the next 4 months of the year can match what the last 4 months of the year have done for me. If so, I really believe that somehow, despite all of the negative press and a lot of the negative news we're hearing, 2025 could be a banner year when it comes to bourbons and ryes. So thank you for joining today, whiskey friends. And just remember, while you can always find more whiskey, you can never have enough whiskey, friends. So take care of those around you, and we'll catch you on the next one. Goodbye, everybody. Thank you for watching Hello Again, Whiskey Friends, everybody. A big shout out to our amazing Patreon community. If it wasn't for you, we couldn't continue to produce the content and barrel picks week after week. And for everybody else out there, be sure to hit that like and subscribe. It really helps the channel more than you know. And we'll catch you on the next one. Goodbye, everybody.